Talks.
All right. Hello, everyone. This is Josh, also known as Yashu. You're just tuning into another episode of TLOY Talks. You know, you can get this like on all platforms: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Buzzsprout, Patreon, much more. And we're definitely gonna get like started right now and all that, you know. So, so basically, I've met this amazing fellow back in like 2022 at an event party where it's like actually I think Yuso's EP release party. Met like a lot of like dope people from there. Like one of them, like him to be exact, and then just kind of like interacted like in our own settings like here and there, and then just basically hearing his music all over. He performs like all over the city, like whether it'll be at Young Dundas Square or at a show or just like anywhere too. Like he'll be around and all that too. He's he's like I think the lead singer member of a band and all that too, and has released like some music as well too. So we have Doesn't Matter, It's Okay. How are you doing today, man?
Amazing. Yeah, phenomenal. That was like an intro I wasn't even expecting, but thank you.
Yeah, I mean,
it's a whole lot of accolades. It's like, it's not even accolades. It's just like for myself. I'm like, oh damn, yeah I did all that work, but it is what it is.
Yeah. And we've met at like a lot of like social settings and all that too. Like Yusu's EP release party, Unlisted Negroes like I think album release party. I think we saw each other at like Low Cases show like last year too. Like all around. Sometimes I'll see you at Young Dundas Square. Like we'll say hi and all that. Like you're performing like alongside like the band there, and like it's amazing to see. Just realizing like everyone around, just like seeing the environments. It's amazing to see and all that.
Yeah, it's just like there's so many different like places you can find yourself to use as an outlet, and it's great to see you and showing love and that type of thing. So it's just like you're really active, and that's why I thought it would be a good idea to show up and do this thing. I was just like, let's just go.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, it keeps popping up on my feed, and I'm like, let me just.
Yeah, and I mean,
say what I need to
we've
say.
connected either way too. So like, we definitely had to set this up too, and like, I think like I know you had like music on Spotify too. Like I was like listening to the music, and then I think it got like removed at like 1.2. So like, what was
still
it?
removed? Yeah.
Oh shit!
Yeah.
So what was like that whole like backstory about?
Oh, it's not even a backstory. It's more like, the credit card information switched up, and it's like, I wasn't able to update it, so I haven't updated it yet. And a reason why I haven't even also like tried to like get it back on like recently or like as quick as like people expected or whatever. It's just that I'm working on so much more new stuff, and I'm figuring out different outlets of like releasing and that type of thing there. But also, it's like, when it comes down to the nitty and gritty, it's like, how much am I really making off of streaming? I make more off of doing like my own events and doing like my own merch and doing, whatever it is I do in the city and that type of thing there. So it hasn't really been like a push for me to do it till I release new music. So I think there's like earning wise when it comes to, and this is being really real with the audience, as you should be when you get on these type of things. So I think it's like $50.
Yeah.
And like the thing to renew it, I think is like $39. With the plan that I have, which is like probably like 45. So it's just like, there's no real rush.
Yeah.
It's like $5 profit. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
And I know the Congress, like they were like talking about it to like increase the prices. Like I think they've had people, I think, who worked at like other like factories and like, other artists. They were in the U.S. Congress. Like they try to like petition to get like, I think the streaming price like up by like $1 and all that too. I don't know if that's gonna work here or anything else too. But hey, who knows?
Yeah, no, I definitely seen that where they were like trying to get more money for artists when it comes to that. But honestly, that's still another platform. And the way I view things, like, especially things that you don't really own, it's like these things are fleeting anyways. It's like, Spotify is hot now. And it's like, was that always hot? Like, when you were growing up? It's like there was other ways of like catching
like
the music and the things that you want and stuff like that. So I'm also attached to that. Like, I mean, it's like I still do shows, I still do my events. People still come through and they still know some of the music, and it is what it is. And I'm like doing new stuff all the time. Okay. So it's like whatever. I'm still feel like a new artist. Every day.
Yeah, no, that's
still feeling fresh.
Yeah, no, like I definitely agree too. And like I think it's like just being in the presence, like of where you're at, that kind of matters rather than just being like a number like for a streaming like platform and all that too. Because I think connectivity with people, like actual people like around you, like for them to hear your music, like it kind of like works out either way too, because then they'll have like that memory of who they know, like who performed, and like how like their music like kind of like resonates that way, like when it's like live and all that. So
Yeah, that's the thing. It's like it's really I base it on the sense of like, I'm really like trying the new idea out live in real time, in the sense of like, here's this idea that we just thought of like a day ago.
yeah,
And then it's like I have a show the next day, or I have like something that I'm, a part of or whatever. And I'm like, yo, a showcase, either it gets played
yeah,
that
exactly.
night, or like I perform it that night or whatever. It's just like everything's happening in real time. And it's just like, I get the streaming platform type thing, and it's like it's cool to have your stuff on Spotify. I don't even personally use Spotify. Actually, all my music is still on Apple Music. Like somehow, somehow it still works. It's like DistroKid is just like, yo, like Apple Music is like the one place where your music will never leave, regardless of whether you pay or not. So shout outs to Steve
like,
Jobs and
the legacy
that
stuff
whole
too.
thing.
So yeah,
That's
facts,
it's all
man.
there,
Yeah, man. But yo, I want to like get it like started for a bit too. So like, where'd you grow up, man?
Where did I what?
Where did you grow up?
Where did I grow up? Like so many different places. Like what? I was like born in Lachine, which I didn't even realize wasn't even part of Montreal. It's like its own city.
Okay.
But basically Montreal Island. And then we moved to Toronto because like my parents wanted me to like not be just French and Portuguese. And they were just like, yo, he's got to learn English. So then I was like Don Mills and Eglinton. I think like from like it had to be like kindergarten to grade 1 or 2 or something. And then we moved to Ottawa. And then we were in Ottawa for a bit. And then we moved to London, Ontario.
Okay.
Then back to Ottawa. And then I decided outside of high school that I was like, you know what? You can only perform at so many different places and stuff like that. It's just like, yo, you gotta just move to a different city. And it's just like, I was in Toronto so much at that particular last point in Ottawa. And I was just like, yo, I'm out here. I'm moving. It is what it is.
Oh, sure.
It's just more opportunity. You know, why not?
So you're actually French and Portuguese, like from like certain countries, or just
like I speak French? Like I can speak French and Portuguese, but like my parents are from Angola, and Angola is like, Portugal was there for like 400 years just chilling,
Oh, okay.
Or doing whatever the hell they were doing. But they were there for 400 years, and like therefore like the backlash, or not a backlash, but like what happens is that everybody speaks that, and that's just like the language spoken at home. And then the French part is obviously like living in Quebec, and then English. So English is technically my third language. So
yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of like Angolans in Toronto and like other parts of like Canada, so it is like very interesting to see and all.
Yo,
that
you're
too.
familiar with Angolans? Other Angolans?
I have like a
That's
homie
crazy.
from high school, from like middle school, that's like Angolan, and then another homie that's like Angolan, but like, so like I do know like the scene.
It took me a while. Like I got my buddy like Moreno right here, like my brother. Like I didn't even like. I didn't even know he was Angolan, like till he was, till he said his name Moreno, and I'm like, yo, there's no other. It doesn't make any sense, but it is what it is,
Yeah, man. Nah, but like I guess like throughout the most part, so I'm guessing like Ottawa was like mainly like the place that you grew up at, like the most and all that.
Yeah, if we're talking about like high school and like a few years into like my 20s, yeah, it was definitely in Ottawa. It's a interesting place. It's like a small city. It's like a city. It's a city, but it's like a big town.
Okay.
It's like there's not too many places you can go to.
Yeah.
Because
I know like the music scene, they had like CB Records, and like a lot of people like came out from there, like City of Fidelia. There's like this guy that I was like,
so like City Fidelia and stuff like that is like, those are people that I used to just run around with like back in the day, like my cousin, or sorry, family friend, or the way, how Africans be, just be like, yo, this is your cousin, But like, anywho, it's used to be part of like that same group, and it was like a squad, but it was just, it's like a small community of people. Like, one person, everybody somehow,
And I was like listening to like people from there too. Like I think recently I was like listening to this guy named Ascuomo, if I'm correct.
Ascuomo, that's another brother of mine, man. Like that's crazy. Yeah.
And then I mean, you have like Yuso, and then I mean,
there we go,
Blue Will, who I didn't even know was like from Ottawa at that time too. But then
I keep forgetting.
Yeah. And then I bet like I guess like Ottawa, was it like good for music growing up, or would you say it was like different?
Like it's good if you like actually have some drive, and it's like one of those places where it's like, if you really stick to like, it's like one of those like, if you can make it in Ottawa, you can make it anywhere. It's like there's really no avenue, and like shout outs to I guess City Fidelia for like keeping at it and like doing his thing and like building what he's been building, but that takes a lot, and he's one of the few, and there's not that many after that. It's just like there's him, there's a few other people, and there's not that much, you know.
Yeah, no, that's
So it's
nice,
like, yeah, it's like one of those cities. It's because it's government. It's very controlled. It's very like, you know, like they're not really pushing money towards the arts and stuff like that. More into like security and more
and
into
like
like
government jobs.
Canada,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
like
'Cause
representation.
Like Ottawa's like kind of like more of like a government city too. So like if you like speak English and French and have like some like experience like in law or government, like you know you could like do well and all that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically, like
yeah,
that's why it's like sick being out here because like out there, like you really like it's tied to your like work and just stuff. It's like, yo, you can't speak French, you really don't get opportunities. But like here, it's like you kind of just be like, yeah, I don't speak it at all, and it's completely fine.
yeah.
You know?
No, for sure. How did you like tap in like with music and all that too? Like what got you into that drive of like listening to music and like wanting to do it like on your own?
Oh, like the whole music thing. I truthfully, when it comes to the nitty gritty, I like saying nitty gritty for no reason, but I just thought nitty gritty would be cool. But like I didn't go into that as like I wasn't in love with that, you know. It was like my sister would like play like, you know, much music videos and stuff, and then I'd just be like, oh shit, I want to watch Star Trek, and that was more me. I was like more science fiction, just like that was just my vibe growing up. But then it's like, she had such an interest in it, and like we're like a year and 6 months apart, and I was just like, oh yeah, like I'm good at with computers and stuff like that. So I was like trying to figure out, oh, like let me just try to like record it or like, you know, programming and that type of thing, and just like you know, one thing to another, then it's just like I'm having homies from the neighborhood just show up at the house and be like, yeah, let's record it. Everybody's in my sister's room. It's like 20 of us. It's super hot. Like it's just, you know, that was like the me jumping into it, and it was like me testing out like, hey, like let me try my own
Yeah.
vocals as I'm like
Okay.
trying to work out my sister's stuff. So it's a
Okay.
lot of unreleased music in that
Not for sure.
world.
Was there like a genre that like you mainly tapped in at like at first and all that too? Like, you know, like kind of like listening to like growing up?
I mean, like the tropes. It's like you just be like, oh well, we're gonna do obviously rap and R&B first, but then it's like as you learn, as you produce, and you realize that it's just an organization of sounds and stuff, and you realize that like, you know, if you just increase the tempo, it's now house music, and if you just, you know, do this and this, it's now this, and it's just like I don't even like looking at genres anymore, or like in general. It's just like that's not my thing. It's just, you know, this is how I feel. Everything's a feeling, you know, and that's basically it. But I guess it did obviously. That's the easiest, you know, the lowest hanging fruit was like rap and hip hop and just like R&B and whatever, you know, like
Yeah, no, for sure. And I'm guessing like influences too, like does it like kind of like range from like a lot of like sounds and all that too? Or
I guess in the beginning was like my sister and stuff like that, but it's just like outside of that it would be anything that just, you know, spoke to me at that particular time. It was like who was I listening to? I'm trying to think. Like Jeezy,
okay.
like Thug Motivation 101,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trap or Die, like those mixtapes and stuff, like that whole Dat Piff era is like, yeah, definitely, you know, where I was at. And that's what like I think with Jeezy specifically, it was like the moment where I realized that you don't really have to, it's not really music anymore, and you really can just like do this whole motivation thing,
Yeah.
and this is just a outlet to do that, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just like the music is maybe just a backdrop. So it's like
Okay.
with him, I would say that was like my figuring out my why I do what I do,
Yeah.
essentially.
Nah, I know what you mean, man. And like even like tapping into like the whole like Friends someday and all that. How did you like tap in with like Yuso and like even with Bartlett House and all that?
Oh, well, so this is funny. Like now the Yuso scenario is like, yo, we went to high school together. So he's always like was he like a year younger than me or a year and a half? Like whatever. Anywho, he was like the younger grade.
Okay.
And so he would always be around, and they would actually just call him Ebenezer, run around. He had his glasses on, you know?
Yeah.
So it would be that. But then like we just knew each other for like years, and like even outside of like high school and stuff, we just running around and I'd be running around doing my thing, and he'd see me and, you know, show love and stuff like that. So we just kept like a tight connection.
Okay,
And even
okay.
when I moved out here, he moved to Toronto, I think within like maybe 2 weeks after I
Okay,
moved, you
okay.
know? And then now the whole Bartlett scenario is just like us figuring out like, hey, let's all move into,
Like
you
what
know,
else?
a same, similar,
Yeah,
whatever. We
okay.
all have kind of the same spirit, like me, him, and like Nate, Captive, whatever at that time.
Yeah.
And actually, the origins of Bartlett was like more like people just showing up at the house all the
Yeah.
time. And I'm like, yo, this is such an open place. Like, we're doing like all these like cool, like, you know, creative ideas and stuff. And then I was thinking like more like death row, and I was like, yo, damn, like, yo, this is looking like there's
Yeah,
so many people
no.
here. Like, this is like, this
Yeah.
is looking like a
Yeah.
label. And I was just like, let me sketch out that front of the house.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, let me get that whole, like, you see how the logo looks. Like,
Yeah,
if
nah,
you,
for sure,
yeah. It's
So
like,
who actually created like the logo by any chance?
I made logo. Like, it
Okay.
was like me and then Sunday.
Okay.
Me and Sunday were in the room, and I was like, I sketched it out, and I was like, yo, I want the lettering, like that Bartlett on top and a house at the bottom to look like the death row, you know, that era of the thing, because it just felt like that. And like, people always usually refer to me anyways as like Shug in the scenario. So it's like, but the good Shug, like the, you know, like
Oh,
I'm
okay,
a, you
okay.
know, family
Yeah.
dude and like ride out for my homies and that type of thing. But it's just
Yeah.
like that energy is like been attached to me
Yeah.
somehow,
Nah,
you know.
sure.
And I'm like, I'm not mad at it. So
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, Death Row, Shug, Ken,
Yeah.
whatever, let's go, you know?
And I mean, with Bartlett House, like it was like well known for like the house parties and like even like the live performances too, because you could like come in just like hang out, but then there'll be like a house party like afterwards too. So house, like, you know, like hosting like these like house parties and like getting the community to like tap in from there and all that.
Yeah, no, it was like so much. It was just like the whole thing there where it was like, oh, a place to call home and like a safe space, that type of thing. There was like generally like exactly what it was. It's like, you know, we can go to whatever time because our neighbors were like real cool.
Okay.
And then everybody in the house was like a 5-bedroom and it was only 3 of us. So we had like a stew type scenario happening in the back. So it was just like this open thing place that people could like, you know, nurture and create. And like a lot of people, a lot of friends, you even, you know what I mean? Like on several occasions, it was just, there we go. It's just,
because I know like I was there for the USO thing, and then I also came back again too to like shoot this like interview and all that too. So backstory, so I shot the interview there, like just made sure everything's like all good, like made it like, you know, like everyone else's home, you know, just like take care, be like of like responsibility too. So backstory, it was supposed to drop sometime like last year or like a year ago, like a year or two ago. Just never heard back from like the people like around like that I had like on there too. So, but like it would have been like a sick moment to like even like release that too. Like it was released at Bartlett House and all that too. I mean, aside from the USO interview, which was like kind of dropped back then, but yeah, you know.
Yeah. No, actually, like I went back on that interview for like 2 seconds, like the other day. And I was just like, just to capture the feeling and just like, you know, put myself in the zone to like doing this, you know. I was like, oh shit, you know.
Kind of like a different format too, but I mean, just experimenting too. Like, hopefully, I'll probably have like USO on here.
I mean, you've grown since then. Like this is crazy.
Yeah,
you know,
bro,
I'm liking the setup. You know,
yeah, just you know, elevating
got me all
like,
the way
either
up
you know?
in North York.
You know, so how was like even like that mission like driving there? You know, like I know we talked about it like on the way before and all that. So
Like getting here.
Yeah.
Today it was raining. You know, it rained for a bit, and I was like, damn. Like I hit up Smy and Smy, the situation like. I know she didn't want to show up when it was raining, so I was just like, I had to wait a little bit. And I was like, damn, you know, it was like, it's whatever. It's like I invited people, and it is what it is. It's like, you know, the timing is gonna be the timing. But yeah, here I am.
Yeah. But like even so, like I don't know if it's like still like a thing anymore. Like because I know like I talked to like USO like a while back too. Like that the house I think either like Lee or someone else like kind of lives there now, and like a lot of people like kind of moved out, or like is it like kind of like non-existent anymore?
The house, no, nobody lives at that house. Like rumors is there's no. Sorry, let's clear the rumors, clear the air. There's nobody living at that house, other than maybe some random family. Now at this particular point, but like if the spirit or that whole energy is gonna be revived and stuff like that, I'll leave it to like, you know, the people at the end that were like, you know, running in and stuff like that. You know, I might have just been like a face at a certain point, but yeah, I'll leave it to them. Yeah, I'm on to other things. You know, that's why I'm here. You know, it's like what?
Yeah, no,
but you know,
but you're like because it was like crazy to hear like a lot of stories. Like whenever I would like talk with you, so or like other people too, like about the stories of like Bartlett House too. Like there would be like some unique stories like that I would heard, like, you know, people coming into like jam and all that too, or like other stuff like go on and all that too. And like it is like kind of interesting like on how those like backstories like came about too, and just knowing the space of the house too, because I know like the space of the house has to be like kind of like a safe space for like everyone and all that too. So
Yeah, no, there's definitely like a lot of cool thing. It hit that one point where it's just like it kind of went. The house went viral for like 2 seconds.
oh, because
Like,
of the Drake thing and all that.
yeah. Which is funny, you know. And it's like shout outs to Toxic, you know. Hopefully she goes through whatever she's going through, and you know is able to share more of herself out there, because like that is a phenomenal artist, like
Yeah.
through and through.
Yeah.
You know, dope. So do your thing, Toxic, please.
But
yeah.
No, that's facts, you know, because like I know with her, like she was like that good viral moment. She was like of the good background to have someone like in the as a face of like Toronto for a bit too, because and then you have like other people like Snow Day and like Plush and all that too, which are kind of like
You dropped two names I have no idea of, but like, all right, let's go.
Yeah, because like I know Snow Day is like famous for like the Wagwan Delilah thing. The
okay, yeah, I know that.
Yeah, and then the girl Plush, which is like the I think the grabber or like Ida Gyal and all that too. So
yeah,
but like because like with them like they do art like they're more like white passing too, and like with Drake co-signing them, it is like kind of different like as opposed to like how he would like support like black artists too and all that too. So it is like kind of questionable too sometimes, but like I mean that moment when he had like toxic and all that too for the support, like that was like pretty interesting too, because it shows like a different light like in the city, you know, with black women and other people like different background too. So
it's like I guess it comes down to like the whole perception of like what is really happening in Toronto, and there's so many faces and there's so many different like the way it's seen, the way it's presented sometimes is not like the way everybody necessarily that's living out there is moving and navigating, you know, like the stories are different and stuff like that. But you know.
Yeah, I mean, to switch on to like a different subject, like how did you do the whole like how did you get into the whole like street performing thing?
Oh, the street performing thing. Street performing thing is just like out of necessity. Like my roommate, what's his name? Kodai at the time there. Sorry, I got
I know this. Sorry. Nah, like a beer for the pod, you know, it's
I was getting like, you know, I was getting thirsty. And shout outs to Burdock, deluxe beer. Anywho, we'll get to that. But getting into like the whole street performing thing there is like literally just like another aspect of like what I was doing. So when I first moved out to Toronto, like my main thing was like, okay, I'm gonna hit up every open mic, blah blah blah, through the week, and that was my scheduling and stuff. And I met so many dope like musicians and stuff like that. And I met this drummer from Japan. His name is Kodai, and we just like right off the bat, just like, you know, hit it off, that type of thing. And with working with him and stuff, him meeting also like different artists and stuff like that, it just like naturally spilled into the streets and just being like, let's test out, you know, doing that because it's like, why not? We had the time. We were living in Kensington Market at that particular point, like on Hickory Street, and it was just like, it just made sense. So like that's where even the name comes from, and like who I am today, like is really has built up from that period in time, you know? But, yeah. So.
And I guess like when you first like approached like street performing, like was it like something that was like an easy process, or was it something that, you know, you had to like kind of like learn over time too, and just like analyze like the whole environment around you and all that?
Yeah, you just realize that it's a reality. But I already knew innately, like when it came to like my shows anyways, it's like I'm like I've done so many performances, so I understand that like it's not just music that we're doing. So I'm like, I hate the not I hate it, but it's just like when somebody's like, oh yeah, it's like, yo, he's a musician or he makes music. Like to me, that's just such a like that's just like I don't even think of it as that. It's just like, okay, that's one way of looking at it. But getting into the street performing thing there, it's like you're out there and you don't really have an audience. Like you have people walking by and you have people just whatever, and you got to capture that. And it's like, what are you really telling these people? So it's just like maybe the adjustment into that in the beginning, in the initial phase. It's kind of crazy, and you kind of have to be crazy to do it. You know, it's like it's not a normal thing. Like you can't just
And
9 to 5 your way.
It's kind of like analyzing the environment around you too, because like anyone can be a perpetrator or like someone that could like kind of be different. Like one day you could have like one person that could like give you like $5, maybe $100. You could have someone else that might disturb like the peace and all that too, and like a lot of other factors.
I figure out how to incorporate that and It's like it's unscripted. Every day is like a different experience. Every time you go out, it's like you don't know what to expect. So you really got to have your heart in it.
Yeah.
So it's like, for me, it's like, I genuinely have something to say, and I genuinely like, this is another form of an outlet. Like, I'll do that regardless of whether there's like money there or there's no money there. It's like I'm doing it, so it's like easy for me, maybe hard for others, but
true. So like, what would, like on a good day, like how much would you like usually like make and all that?
Oh, on a good day, yeah. I'm trying to think of the greatest day of all time. No, you can make several hundreds like easily, like yeah. You know, I know folks that's just like that's just their living and stuff. So true. It's.
And then you gotta like split the money with like
with the people you with. You're like, you hope the team's small. Yeah. You're like, hopefully there's only 2 other people to split the thing. It's like, how are we spending $20? It's like, nah. But I mean, that's happened. So how do we split 10? It's like, we buy a pizza. You know what I mean? But it's like, again, your heart has to be in it, and the guys that you're with, and like, sorry, the guys and the gals. No. Everybody, whoever, the people you're doing the thing with, they are usually in that same kind of spirit. So it's like, making the money is the icing on the cake. Experiencing and hanging together and really just having a fun moment or fun time is like, maybe holds a higher
and
place.
Like building like the friendships, and making connections too. Because one day you could meet like an industry like professional that could probably like take you to like the next level, like in some way, shape, or form, or you can meet like someone that could be your potential fan that could make like a fan page for you and all that too.
Well, that's the thing. It's like the amount of photography that I haven't even released and videos, but also like the amount of like gigs and shows and random things. It's like we like off of doing that, we just did something for like Ozzy's Burgers, which is like he's using it for like a Netflix ad, that type of thing there. So it's just like you gotta just, it's like one of those things where it's like it was good to just put yourself out there and you know.
No, I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Like I remembered, I think I saw like a little ad like one time for Aussies too. There was like this guy like named Peter Bones, who's like a Kensington like market like legend and all that too. He did like the Splat Your Burbs type videos and all that, and like basically he made like a jingle for Aussies, and it just kind of like blew up in a sense too. So
yeah, he's the guy. Ozzy is like such a just warm spirit in the city, and especially specifically in the market too. Also, it's just he understands and he's very supportive. I'd say, you know.
Oh, for sure, man. And
his burgers are dope.
Yeah.
Go there and get your burgers and fries and poutine and everything else.
I had like, I think the burgers, like I think before I did the whole like platform thing too, like I think either this is like 2016 or 17. I went there for the first time too, because he used to work at Top Gun, and then basically, you know, they had like the burgers like around there too, like, and then basically it was like the same format, but like I think from what he had, it was like a little bit more better, like in a sense too, because
oh shit,
yeah,
I didn't know he came from like Top Gun.
Yeah, because like, Top Gun, like it used to be like an OG spot, and then I think Ozzy worked there, and I think he moved there, and then people loved Ozzy's more and all, they know. So
okay,
but yeah,
okay, that's an amazing story.
Yeah. Hopefully I'll have Ozzy on someday too, like to discuss the burgers. But yeah, man. But,
of course, I can make it happen if you.
For sure.
He's a message away.
Okay, but yo, how did you like form the band Deem? Like, is it like the correct name? Deem, the band?
Oh, Deemed Essential.
All right.
Deemed Essential comes literally from the pandemic, and it was like when everybody was like stay at home order and all of that, blah blah blah. I was like, nah, and then I was like, well, we have all this like equipment anyways, and it's just like, it was one of those things where it's just like, we got to do something with our days and we got to find a way to express. And they were talking about what it was deemed essential at that particular time. It's like, you know, going to the grocery store, whatever. It's like, let's talk about expression. Let's talk about, you know, how we're really feeling. Let's talk about whatever. And we're like, we think we deemed that essential, and that's where the name stems from. And that's what we were doing during the pandemic. We played through. We're just in the market, just playing like all day, every day, almost, you know, and
for sure
that became something.
Yeah, and I'm guessing, you know, like just like dealing with like different like personalities and all that too, with like the band, you know, with the members and all that. Do you feel like it's like even just like a process and like a journey to get to know one another and to understand the vibrations of like making like good music and all that?
Oh, this is the great part. There's no band. It's like literally, if it's not me and Michael, like just sitting around, just being like, yo, like let's go do something or whatever. It's like that to me. Like the thing about Deemed Essential is more like the same reason why kids have a good time at a playground and like meeting new friends and whatever, and just like, oh, we're just whatever. It's like our form of play, So it's like we've had people come join us and blah blah blah, but we just keep it at that. So there's no practice, there's no real anything about it. It's like it's sick to see that like people are like now recognizing it as something, but it's just like we're literally every time you see us, we're just having fun.
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
unstructured, Sometimes my boy Moreno, who's in the building too,
Yeah.
get him on camera.
Yeah.
It'd be sick. But he'll hop on and like just do his thing, and I'm like, then I'll just vibe off of whatever he's doing, and then Michael will do the same thing, and depending on like whoever else is like there, like currently like we have like Diego like just hanging out with us and just doing, like Diego. I guess it's like it's like I guess it's more of a last name than a band, if anything.
Exactly.
It's like.
Yo, crazy story. So I think maybe 2 months after I interviewed Moreno, like I was at Yuso's EB release party too, and like usually I would expect like a lot of people like around and all that too, like maybe like Moreno because like him and Yuso are like close and all that. So there was like a guy that pulled through Sunday. Okay. So basically, like at that time too, I was like kind of green, and like basically I like dabbed the guy and all that too, and like I thought he was like Moreno, like, hey, are you like Moreno, man? Like, because I think I might have like interviewed you because of like the dreads at that time. So
it's the height.
Yeah.
I guess, Moreno, are you the same height as Sunday? I'm like, I never.
I gotta be taller. You gotta be
taller. Okay. But yo, like that was like probably like the craziest story too. But then finding out it was like Sunday and all that, it was interesting too. I think it's like the face structure and all that. I'm not gonna lie, but
damn. That's like where people have me looking like, yo, you look like James Harden, or you look
stuff like that too.
You know what I mean?
Like on a good day, like or like on a random day, like if it's like someone from the scene and all that too, you kind of look like Tremaine from Stay Out Late for a bit too, like a little.
Tremaine from Stay Out Late. I gotta Google this thing. I'm sorry, like I don't know who that is.
Yo.
This is the issue. This is why I'm like, yo, I can't identify as an artist sometimes. It's like when people ask me, I'm like, I don't
because
know.
I know like there's this like guy named like Gerald Hudson who would like hug random people, but then like he would like say different names instead too. Like sometimes too.
Stay Out Late. Is that Toronto?
Yeah, it's Toronto. Yeah.
Stay Out Late.
Let me find a good photo. To be honest,
is there where we can get it on screen? Because that'd be crazy, right? Wouldn't that? Like that'd be okay.
Yeah, that guy.
Like, but he also looks like Lee. He looks like our videographer homie, like Lee too. Also, but then I look like Lee sometimes. But then I also look like my other homie. What's his name? Which you need to have him on a podcast too. Nigerian homie. Name. No, not Ola. He lives in like Edmonton now. Oh, he's in Edmonton for a little bit. Idris Lawal,
Yeah. If we could like fly him to Toronto for a bit too, that could work, But yeah,
it's that whole. Do you know what that is? I feel like that's like a tribe thing. Like back in the day, we were probably all from like the same like tribe, and somehow like you're West Africa. Where are you from?
Ethiopian.
Oh, Ethiopian.
Yeah.
No, man. I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Habesha, yeah. Some people think I'm like Jamaican Trini, but like I've had like Jamaican, I've had Somalian, I've had like.
Okay.
But yeah, like Jamaican, Somalian, but I'd say Ethiopian, like
Ethiopian, okay.
Yeah.
That's dope. Yeah. No, there's like, isn't there 2 little Ethiopias in Toronto? Like, I feel like
one in Ossington, I think one on Danforth, I think too. And then
it's like they mirror each other almost.
And there's like an Eritrean hub in like St. Jamestown, like by like Wesley, like Sherborne to like Parliament, and from like Wesley to Bloor and all that. But like that's kind of it too.
The Eritreans were going crazy the other day. Like I don't know if you've seen that where they were like beeping. It was like I don't know what was going on. It was like
I think because of the whole like protest situation too.
Because, okay, yeah.
But,
no, I seen them going crazy. Like we were shooting a video but that's dope, man. Ethiopian food is fire, and like
I mean injera, dorawat, a lot of stuff too. Like yeah, exactly, man.
Yeah,
but
it's a vibe. I gotta ask you a question then. What is the top Ethiopian spot to go to in Toronto, Bloor or Danforth area? Specifically Bloor.
I've had food more on Danforth than on Bloor.
Okay.
Like I feel like sometimes too I'm kind of green on Ossington too. Like unless it's like McDonald's, like shawarma and all that too. But like you'll probably get like good Ethiopian food like around the Danforth too, like Danforth Greenwood, Danforth.
Danforth is the original Habsha.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly, man. But yeah, I gotta like plug in some game too. Like I'm trying to promote the food spots and all that too. But yeah, man,
No, you should definitely. I don't know if you're like you got to do that food review or maybe.
I have to continue doing that too. Like it's been
Yeah.
a while, but yeah, like the last time I did, it was like I think a burger spot like in Scarborough, but like that was like kind of into like I'll post some stuff here like on IG, but it's like I've been so like invested like in the pod and everything else too. Like I hardly had time to create other stuff too. Like now I do have that time like here and there, so
Yeah.
hopefully it works out. You know, but
I'm excited. I'm excited, man. Like
Yeah,
I'm
man.
like I see the work. I respect the work.
yeah, I appreciate
You
you,
know,
man. Yeah, man.
That type of thing. It's
Likewise.
like all in my feed, you know. And I was like, yo, again, that was another reason why I was like, let me really show
Yeah.
up and have that conversation,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, just to showcase like all over, you know, like it's not just like even within music, but like all over, you know, like with food, with culture, with everything, it's necessary, you know. So
Yeah, of course, of course,
Yeah,
of
man.
course.
nah, likewise, man. Really appreciate you like with that too, and you know, I just have like some questions like in my head too and all that. But you know, if you could like work with like any like artist or like musician someday, like would it be and all that?
Oh, that's like the fun one. That's like, oh, in the dream world, if I can work with any music, honestly, like if it's not organic, I don't even want to like try. Like I used to have names. I used to be like, and that's the issue. And that's another thing I want to talk about just for 2.5 seconds,
All right.
which is like the issue with the industry is the industry. The industry, like the fact that we know that there's like, oh, like it's got to play out in this particular matter. I'm cool already with like the people I work with and stuff. You know, we're making great art and creating from that standpoint. If it does work out in vibration where it's like, okay, I'm able to work with so and so individual,
Yeah.
that'd be dope. But it's just like at this particular point, like I'm cool with everybody I have around me, you know.
Depends
Like,
on the connection and all that too.
yeah,
I think
yeah.
connection's like everything too, because like if you don't see like a connection with that person or with that brand or whatever, you know, it might not work in a way too, like because you don't want to like force it sometimes too. And like I've seen it like with mainstream artists like trying to force certain stuff and like other people like doing the whole force thing too, because it's kind of like, you know, at the end it'll just kind of be like all shambles and all that too. And like I like a crazy question that I've been brewing in my mind for a while too, but I never had the chance to ask. Do you feel like music has gotten like worse since like Young Thug got locked up?
Yeah. But it's like, it depends. It depends on what angle you're looking at
Yeah.
at the thing. And what we're dealing with nowadays, just because like the whole thing is fragmented anyways, it's like everybody's living in their own bubbles.
Yeah.
It's like I gotta ask us like, which bubble are we talking about? And it's like, if it is the bubble of the where you would find Young Thug and like his like that style and that
Yeah.
vibe, potentially.
Yeah.
But like, you know, what is it? Rich the Kid just dropped a project. I guess that's maybe from the same bubble, and that
Yeah.
sounded kind of cool. But I don't know.
Yeah.
Like art is subjective. You like what you like, and it is what it is. And it's like, yeah, I don't know. I say again, there's maybe a lot where we're at right now when it comes to society is like there's a lot of people still in it as a hobby, and that might be the issue.
Yeah.
And it's like maybe you need to jump into like maybe you need to sit back, think about what this really is, and if it's not really your day to day and your every vibe, every moment of your experience, then maybe do something else.
Yeah.
Because then you're just like you're watering down the whole
Yeah.
scenario of what the thing is, and like making us sit back here and be like,
Yeah.
is it watered down or not? Is it
Yeah.
good? Is it hot? You know, JPEG Mafia
Yeah,
is about to
exactly.
drop some new shit, and I'm like,
Yeah.
that sounds kind of crazy.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it's
Yeah.
if shit is watered or
Yeah.
not. You know, it's like
I mean, I'm all for like artistic breaks, you know, in order to like explore, enjoy life, and all that too. And like, I think some artists like have honed onto it, but then there's artists that because of the pandemic, they have to release like so many projects in order to keep up to their labels or to whatever and all that too. And like, sometimes it's more of a numbers game than anything, rather than like the love of the music too. And like, I could say like Young Thug was like kind of like the butter, like glue to people producing like a lot of good stuff too. Like whether it's like Drake or YSL or Kendrick or Future or Metro Boomin or Lil Baby. Like I've noticed like a lot of them have dropped like subpar music since then too. Like with some like good projects too, but then I feel like even like there is like different sounds that do become kind of forced too. since like Young Thug got like locked up too. Like I know like some people like tapping in with like more of the Chicago, Detroit stuff now, the whole like Sexy Red, Plug and B type stuff too, and then there's others that are still going on that whole like YSL thing, but kind of varies like here and there too. And like I feel like if Young Thug didn't get locked up too, I didn't think like a beef wouldn't happen between Drake and Future and Kendrick Lamar and like all those people.
Are you saying it's like almost like it's there to add some kind of like hype into the thing, sell records? Potentially. That's the weird part.
Yeah.
It's like, again, it's like the industry really killed the industry at that particular point.
Yeah.
So it's like, I personally choose to like not even play within the thing there. So it's like, Lord forgive, God forbid anybody ask me like what I'm doing as a genre or anything like that. But it's just like, build what you build, understand the market, and these things are coming and going, and there's a place for everybody, and figure out like, you know, where you can, you know, add that level of value to whatever it is. And it's just like, you know, so many ways to many ways to skin a cat.
Yeah.
You know? It's like,
would you kind of like say the same for like the Toronto like sound and all that too? Because I always like ask like everyone from the city about it, like if they feel like the city should improve like the music scene or not, or do you feel like it's kind of fine the way it is and all that?
Again, it goes back to the whole bubble thing. It's like, what we're really doing at Trinity Bellwoods at like 3 p.m. on a Saturday is not what we're doing at, you know what I mean, Dundas. Like, it's like there's so many different pockets in the city and stuff. So it's like, it's hard to just be like, even the sound and have that conversation and stuff. It's like, you know, from what angle are we looking at, you know?
Because you could look at the mainstream sound, you could look, because like I always see it's like kind of like clicky in a sense, because you got the mainstream stuff, then you have like the indie stuff, then you have like the little stuff too with the street stuff, and then like all these like other stuff, like the label stuff. Like it's like a lot of factors too, and like I think everyone's like kind of like honed into their circles too, so that there is like no like mingling, like in a sense too, like even like when like with the street stuff too, like people are they're choosing between so and so and so and so and all that too, and like it all like depends on the artist and all that too. So it's like a lot of factors.
Yeah, it goes back again. The industry is killing the industry, and it's like, does anybody want to be like? Does the indie artist really want to be indie? You know, it's like
because it's like flight or flight like moments like, and all that too. I'm not gonna lie,
you know, it's like I think everybody genuinely wants to have the most amount of, you know, you want to make something, you want to be able to like share it, and you want to be able to like have that communication, you know, and then it's like everything else is just this. We watched way too many movies and we sat back and we're like, okay, I'll be Tupac. What do you want to play? And it's like, okay, I'm supposed to act this way in this interview, and it's supposed to, you know what I mean? Like the thing that we like this game that we play is like, how about the truth? How about we just speak the truth when we, you know, when we're really here? It's like,
I actually had a guy like one time ago that tried to like act like a different character like on a podcast too and all that. So like
that's great.
I'll explain later too. But like the one time that we had him like in April like last year versus like October of like last year too, two different characters and all that. But it's like for another time and all that too. But do you ever feel like there's like a crab in the bucket mentality like in the city?
Oh, like people are just trying to like bring you down. Yeah. There's I guess that's what Toronto's known for. Toronto's really known for the great food, the beautiful people, and the gatekeeping. Cause it's clout. It's clout. We clout it up. Smai's laughing at that. You know, it's like clout up. Do you want to speak on this thing, Smai? I feel like we were having a conversation about it, or no?
I mean, like especially the female side, it's savage. Females don't like other females.
Is she getting picked up or on a? Do you want?
Yeah, it should pick up on the camera.
Yeah, there's like there needs to be more support, you know. It's like more, you know, it's like I'm having this scenario. Most people would show up and just be like solo dolo and just like never tell you how they got on, you know, this thing there with you.
Yeah.
And then for me, I'm like, yo, well, Moreno's doing this thing heavy, you know, working on. He just dropped this. Was it Be a Superstar or something? What is it called? Megastar. Be a Megastar. You know. I don't know. I seen him in a car and it was smoked out, but I was just like, okay, I got to bring him with me. And then Smai is working on a bunch of stuff, amazing new music and things like that. And it's just like, yo, it's all opportunities. Like, at least the angle that I'm coming from, and it goes back to like the Bartlett thing that we were talking about, and just like, you know, who we were, like me, you, so, and like whatever and stuff like that. It's like, bringing that. So that crabs in a bucket thing, it does exist. We are known for that. But here's a whole new narrative. Everybody's showing up, and that's basically it, you know. And if I can bring more people through the door with me as we're going, or as I'm going through, I'm with it, you know.
Yeah, man.
So
like as a Como too, like I think like he's from Ottawa, but like he just dropped a project I think a while back, like recently too. Like it was actually pretty fire too, you know. So
yeah,
man. I mean, it's just like supporting, showing like one love, like whether you're buying merch or like going to a show and all that too. Like it is like kind of necessary too, you know. So
even tonight I'm like, okay, I leave here, I gotta go support another homie. Like it's like tapestry. It's like you don't necessarily, things like this don't need to happen, but it's just like, you know, I'm cool with just being an example, you know. Exactly. As small as an artist I am, or whatever you want to call me, and blah blah blah. But it's like it's about that. It's about, you know, we don't. It's a together thing.
No, that's facts.
You know.
Like interesting news today. Like Vibes Cartel is now like a free man and all that too.
I seen that.
Yeah. How do you feel about that, man?
I was like, okay. I definitely grew up on Vibes Cartel. I can't remember a single song at all. Like I mean, it would have to play in
romping shop with like ice, like spice and all that too.
Okay.
Like coming in my romping shop, like they had like the Neo sample and all that too. That's still like one of my favorite songs. Last Man Standing. Summertime, Go Wine. Like
see, I think my issue is that I don't know the names specifically to the records. I know I definitely obviously listen to Vibes Cartel for people that are like gonna ask like, oh, you don't know. I just don't know the name. But I am aware, and I guess that's dope. I guess you know, if he was able to get out and keep creating, you know, he definitely added to my upbringing. I guess, you know,
for sure. And I mean, he'll probably drop like probably one of the greatest albums for a while too, because I would have expected it with like Buju Banton and all that too. But I feel like when people come home from jail, sometimes too, like you could say with BG and like Buju Banton and like Bobby
you say BG as in like Baby Gangster, like from
Young Money, Cash Money.
Oh shit, you listen to him too?
Yeah, like I mean, yeah, like that's fire too. Like I would have expected like some fire from him too. Like even G-Dub came home, but you know, like it's like a slow burning process too because of like aging and everything else too. So, and like even Bobby Shmurda too, like he came home like what 2021 or something like that, and never heard anything from him since, you know, like
he's just smiling on cam, looking younger and younger every video.
Yeah, exactly. But I think Vibes will probably have like a good project like brewing in the works and all that too.
I think, do you know are there even good projects anymore? I think like what's gonna happen, it'll be highly anticipated, and then it'll just be like, you know,
because like that's like for like even artists too. Like when Boosie came home, I think back in like 2014, you know, people were excited to hear about him and all that, but now it's like we're in 2024 right now, and Boosie hasn't really done much besides be on like IG Live and all that too. So it's like sometimes too that anticipation's like kind of gone, and like now you get to see who they really are, like when you see them on social media versus like back then where phones weren't like non-existent and all that. So
yeah, no, we're definitely in the era of the death of the superstar.
Yeah, true.
And like people live for like 2.5 seconds. So it's like you better just take care of your community and the circles that you've built and like make it bigger and bigger and whatever. And it's like have your 1,000 real fans, as people would say, and just like take care of them. You know, it's just, that's all you need really. It's like anything outside of that, that's cool too. That's icing on the cake. But yeah, like I'm excited. Like Vibes is gonna, if he comes out and he wants to do music and drops, or he might just do the flute thing, like
for sure, like Andre Fike and all that.
You know, just,
for sure.
I'm not doing the raps anymore. Fair enough, brother.
True.
Do what you want to do.
I'm probably gonna ask like these questions like briefly too, because like of like timing and all that too. But how'd you get your stage name?
Oh yeah, so it came back to that whole scenario where when you had asked about the how did I get into street performing type thing, or like doing what I was doing in the streets. Not selling drugs.
Yeah.
Okay. But yeah. So it's like it's kind of like an angst in the sense of like people come up and just be like, oh, what are you guys called? Or what's the name? And da. And then I'd hear it so much that I was just like, I'm like, we're just having fun. Like, I don't know. This is the homie Kodai, this is the homie Cho, this is the homie, like whoever was there at that particular time. And then I remember this one time we had a show. And I was literally like, I'm just gonna name I'm gonna name our band, because they're like, yo, just let us know what the name of the band is so you guys can whatever. perform with us or whatever. And then I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna name it everybody's name in the band, and I was gonna be the name of the band.
Okay.
And I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. It's ridiculous,
Yeah,
right? I was
exactly.
literally just gonna be like Ken, Kodai,
Yeah,
whatever,
exactly.
Mila. You know what I mean?
It's smart either way too, because you're representing the family and all that. So
That, and I was like, yo, every show we're just gonna change the name, and it's always gonna be whoever's performing on the stage. That's the name of the band. But then I'm like, that's kind of ridiculous. And I
Yeah.
remember we're sitting around, it was like, yo, like, yeah, it doesn't matter. We're like, it doesn't matter. We just literally like the name doesn't matter. We're like, yeah, it doesn't matter. And I was like, I forgot. I feel like Mala was in the room there. It was like Mala and Kodai or something like that. We're just like, doesn't matter.
Yeah, no, for sure.
And it's funny. I don't want to cut you off, but I feel like I've cut you off like 10 times today.
It's all good, It's the process, Like
It's like, when people say stuff like, I'm not trying to be this, but, and then they're doing that thing.
Yeah,
That
exactly.
That's the, you know what I'm talking
I
about?
know what you mean, man. But have you ever felt like you've grown as an artist or like even as a person in general from the start until now?
I think, yeah, that is a I don't even know the word, but growing is inevitable. And as I guess like people outside looking in, I'm sure they've seen like, okay, he was doing this and whatever, but like if we're not growing, we're dead, right? So while we're here, we're like, it's like, so yeah, I don't know. That answer, I feel like, sorry, or that response to that question, I feel like everybody should have the same answer. It's
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
hopefully you're growing.
Nah, exactly.
Damn, you're not growing. What's happening? You're dying.
Yeah. Nah, for sure.
It's like, I don't know.
Yeah, man, nah, that's facts. It's a good answer too. It's like kind of like the appropriate way for people to kind of understand like the method and all that. But
Yeah.
man. But as far as like what do you have going on next? Like, what do you want to like plug in like for people to check out and all that too? And do
You know what's happening. That's why I was just like, I am excited to be here today, because like what's basically happening is that it's just deluxe. We're just moving into this whole vibration of, the word deluxe comes from, it's a French word of meaning of luxury, of God, of higher, you know what I mean? And that's the energy that I'm coming in. And so everything is just good, upper, everything closer to who you are. And that's basically what the showcase is about. There's a soundtrack that's coming with that. There are, some visuals coming with that. There's a whole vibration, it's a whole frequency, and that's the energy. It's just like, very deluxe, everything. This whole moment that we're having right now, like you at the stage, what?
Yeah.
This is amazing. Like it's great.
Yeah.
And I don't know when this is gonna be released, but it's like, just know that,
Yeah. Yo,
That's the feeling.
I actually used to ask like people like this like back then, like when I used to do like the whole like Vlad style like interviews and all that too. But for anyone that's interested, like not interested, but that wants to like pursue their like dreams and all that too, that have like a dream to become the best that they could be and all that, whether it's like in music, arts, whatever, you could be like the best like puzzle piece player and all that. Like, what advice would you give them in order to like pursue like the dreams and all that?
I don't got the answers for you, but who do you listen to is a huge one. Maybe. Like just when you're getting advice and like somebody's telling you, hey, like you do something. So it's like really you got to be doing things. And like when somebody says that's the wrong way to do it, and you got to just take a step back and be like, do I want to, like, is this, you know what I mean? Like, where's this information even coming from? Is it, you know?
Exactly.
So just like know who and where you're getting
Yeah.
your source information from, but continuously create and do stuff, and follow your gut and stuff like that. Fulfillment is a big one. Everything else burns out, like you'll get your midlife, you'll get your
exactly.
crises at that particular point if you don't. And everybody, you know what's up. But it's just like, follow your heart, follow your gut, and who do you listen to is like super important.
Yeah.
Super important.
Yeah, no, that's
Don't listen to me unless you want to be me sitting here.
Yeah, I mean,
do other things. Do better.
Yeah, like I feel like being like influenced by yourself, or like even like being influenced by people around you, like it kind of like goes like a long way too, and all that. And I think that's what I could say. Like like if you can influence yourself to be the best that you could be, like that's all that matters. So
yeah, it's like just be close to your what it is, because like your time might get cut short, and like people are gonna have to be left with things. It's like, how will you want to be remembered? Is
Yeah,
live
man.
every day like it's like your last type thing there, and it's just
Yeah.
like legacy early on to think about is like a big scenario, and it's just like you got to go out just being you
Yeah,
and whatever
exactly.
that is,
Yeah, exactly, man. No, that's facts. And it doesn't matter. It's okay,
unapologetically,
It's dope to have you on and all that too, to even like share this like journey and story and everything else too. I feel like there would have been like a lot more to answer to, but like I think that could be for like another episode or another time and all that too. We'll definitely plan on that. But
I was like low key trying to like plug some like new music if I wanted to. Is there a way I can just like play a new song or something like that or not? Does that work as a final thing?
like
Like
I mean, if you have like a
goodbye?
USB and all that too, or like
Have it on my phone? Can I
so-
like put it like to the speaker to the mic or not? That's just weird.
You could try to do it a little bit too, like if you want to, but we could like probably you could like send me like the video.
Play it as the outro.
Yeah, exactly, and then
You're getting an exclusive record off the new deluxe vibration scenario featuring me, Moreno, Smy, Yuya, and Vile Merc, produced by me. And yeah,
That's fact. That's fact.
super
man.
fire track.
Yeah, man. And it was a pleasure having you on. We'll definitely have you back on to even like add more onto that. Like I think there's like a lot more to discuss too, but I feel like we could save it up for like another time too and all that. But this is Josh, also known as Yashu. Another episode of TLOY Talks. You can get this on all platforms as listed in the intro: YouTube, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Patreon, maybe SoundCloud someday. Who knows? And tap in with Doesn't Matter, It's Okay. You can only find this stuff like on Apple Music right now too, but like once Spotify or
You just YouTube it.
yeah, you'll find it there, and it's good to tap in, and like this is Josh, also known as Yashu, with Doesn't Matter, It's Okay. Another episode of TLY Talk signing off.
Yeah.